Hello, hello. Let's see if people can hear me. I'm going to check on Slack. Just need a thumbs up from the Darkblock crew that they can hear my voice. No telling. So we'll see. And the delay shouldn't be so bad. I think I have it optimized. That should be like a 5-second delay. But I'm going to go out of my way, Angie, to not cuss because I'm a professional.
Well, I can't speak for myself.
It is interesting, I can't. Every time there's a survey that says, people who cuss are smarter than people who don't cuss. I
They definitely are.
All right, they hear me loud and clear. Dottie, do you hear Angie in the background?
Hello, hello, hello.
We'll see if Dottie says yes, and then if it's a yes, we're starting.
Okay.
Oh, Dottie's typing. Yes. All right. Joey did his job right today. All right, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit to Angie Jones, Sticks and Jones, which is hilarious, and play on words and all that.
hmm
Uh, a LA, you're based in Los Angeles?
hmm Downtown Los Angeles.
It, like next to the Maze building? My view
Oh
of.
no, no, not proper. I
Oh,
am about a mile east of Chinatown. I
okay.
live in. It's not as hippie as it sounds. I live in an artist community. There's about 300 artists that live here. It used to be a Pabst Blue Ribbon brewery downtown, and they retrofitted the place. It's very raw lofts, and fixed it up so we could live here cheaply.
Oh, that's amazing. My knowledge of LA is either going to kind of Disneyland or Grand Theft Auto. Those are my frames of reference.
Okay.
So all right, Angie, who are you? What do you do?
Okay, then. I am an artist that lives and works in downtown Los
Mm-hmm.
Angeles. I have worked in animation and visual effects for over 25 years. I just took a job with a company here in Los Angeles called Halon Entertainment as their lead on the Fortnite cinematics. But what I really like to do in my spare time is I paint and I create things and I make video projections and 3D sculptures and I am now getting into NFTs.
You know the your day job. Every 12-year-old thinks you have the coolest thing in the world. But you said the cinematics. That's like the rendered, high-end, beautiful cutscene kind of stuff.
Correct.
Oh,
It's what they call in the business finals,
okay.
or there's finals in movies. Period. It's all final. But previs is a part of visualizing what a movie, a game, anything might look like. And a lot of companies just do previs, and cinematics are like somewhere in between. But they are final. They're all keyframed, and they're just taking the characters a little bit further and promoting different seasons for the game and that type of
Oh,
thing.
how cool is that? Now, have you had to become a diehard gamer like you're up till 2 a.m. every night? You know?
Oh no, 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 no. So I am a bit OG when it comes to games. I've worked in games since the 90s, and some of the games that I could mention, I don't know if everyone in your audience would even know. Maybe their parents, their dad would have played, but yeah, I can't play games. I don't have that mental muscle. So
Mm-hmm.
when I've worked on games, the QA department will call me down, go get Angie, and I just do this until it breaks, and then they say, "Oh, okay, what did she do? Damn it! Now we got to go back to square one."
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I've worked on the first real job I had was Oddworld
Oh,
Inhabitants,
yeah.
which is Abe's Exodus, Abe's Odyssey, Munch's Odyssey, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So worked at Oddworld for 2 years in the 90s, then went to Angel Studios in San Diego, which is now Rockstar San Diego. Red Dead Revolver, Dino Crisis, a bunch of racing games, Smuggler's Run, Off Road. I can't remember everything, but mostly Dino Crisis 3 was my baby when I was there, and spent a lot of time with Capcom because they were the publisher at that time. So I would go back and forth between Osaka and San Diego.
Oh wow, must be rough. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very young. And then in 2000, I moved over to film. And so I progressed up here to LA. And the first movie I worked on was Stuart Little 2, like 20 years ago.
Dude, that's. Uh, I think I have a VHS copy somewhere. Like in the garage. That's awesome.
Super cute stuff. It was a very different time compared to the amount of tech and controls we have to animate these characters today. Um, I jumped around between the sweet and saccharine and the evil and deadly. It's fun to do that. I am versatile enough where I can go super cartoony all the way to photo real. So I've done, like, I literally jumped like Stuart Little, then I went to X-Men, to Nightcrawler's Tale and Freddy versus Jason, to Garfield, Scooby, Narnia, The Gecko, then National Treasure, Pan's Labyrinth, Avatar 2, just back and forth between different types of work.
Holy smoke! So an animator, I've seen all the Pixar behind the scenes, and you always see like an artist with a mirror, and then they're acting out this. I mean, are you doing that? Is that what goes on in your life?
Totally. Yeah, yeah. And nowadays they have rooms for you to go into and record yourself, and usually there's a grid behind you so you can kind of judge how far up you've moved, how far down. So you get the body mechanics and the performance to drive what you're going to do for your character. It's easier to sell to your director what you want to do for the performance, all of that.
And so, Nosy Joey here. Hello. So during COVID, though, you were just hanging out at the house or the studio, and yeah, you didn't affect you that much. I mean, there's just you were already.
The thing is, both through a pandemic and through financial crisis, I think entertainment and art always does really well because people need that escape.
Yeah.
I sold more paintings during the pandemic than in the past 3 years previous.
Wow.
I stayed very busy. What was interesting is mostly during the pandemic, I did somewhere between previs and final for directors to pitch to Amazon and Netflix what they wanted to make, because sort of like the bear market, everybody wants to build. The same thing is happening during the pandemic. Everyone just decided, okay, how can we build in this new landscape? And it was funny. I remember too, if I don't tell you what the project is, it shouldn't matter, but it's the middle of the pandemic. And all of a sudden on this project, there's Billy Bob Thornton in one of the shots. And I'm like, how did they get him? It was the height of the pandemic, but somehow they managed to get him to come record some stuff for the show. And I was just like, this is crazy talk. But yeah, so I have definitely stayed very busy throughout the pandemic. I think for a long time, a lot of the studios wanted to hold on to their IPs and not have anyone work from home. But I mean, bottom line, runaway production happened back in 2007, and most of features is made overseas now. So their IPs are already being produced remotely. So it was just silly not to let people, especially the people that are on a machine,
Yeah.
just work from home.
Yeah. It's the I do miss. So our team, I always say it's 8 time zones, it's 5 continents, and
Mm-hmm.
there's less than 15 people at Darkblock,
Mm-hmm.
and yet it's from the exact opposite side of the world, and I'm the furthest west, and I'm in Texas, like,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of, I've never been the furthest west on anything, and yet Slack. Google Meetings, you kind of collaborate. You try to find, moments for human time. Like what you would do on the water cooler, like hanging out. Um, but it is different. I do miss, I guess the BS, just the chill, no structure, hanging out. Let's go to lunch kind of stuff. Um,
Sure.
but I haven't had a commute for years. I don't miss that at all. So yeah.
I live in Los Angeles. I definitely don't miss most of the shows that I worked on. Even though I'm centrally located, I was a professor at USC for 7 years, and that's only 4 miles away, and it would take me 45 minutes to get there, get parked, and get into my class.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, welcome to LA.
The
I mean,
405, it's jammed.
we've officially now become Californians talking about traffic here.
What are you doing? Yeah, I love that those sketches. All right, so I am curious about the tools that you use. So I've got a Sketchfab account. I am a Blender wannabe. I've done the donut tutorial. I think I have skills. Whatever Andrew Price says, that's what I'm going to do in my life. You're the real deal. So like, what are your kind of daily driver tools that you use to create things?
Well, I use old dog doesn't like to learn new tricks. I use what I use for movie production. Maya
Hmm.
is the software by Autodesk, but that doesn't mean you have to use Maya. It's just, I have a very fancy hammer compared to some of the other stuff out there or whatever. Um, so I use Maya primarily and Redshift for the lighting. Redshift is a godsend. It is so beautiful. You can create, as a painter, that's so important to me. That's all you're doing when you're painting is painting light. And it's super powerful to create the kind of glowy stuff that I'm trying to create with these NFTs that I'm making. Um, there's an element of realism to the lighting that I try and create, but there's also this sort of fantasy dreamlike quality to it as well. Um, so yeah, I don't model. I'm not a modeler,
Hmm.
but I have friends that I engaged with that helped me get the models and the rigs. There's rigs too. So when you're working in computer animation, it's very specialized.
Hmm.
And each type of specialization takes a certain mindset. And I'm definitely an artsy fartsy. I may sound technical, but I am nowhere near as technical as the people I work with. Like really smarty entertainment sciencey people.
Hmm.
Um, so like rigging and modeling to me are very mathematical, and you have to think sort of inside out when you're building things. And the rig is the puppet or marionette that I use inside the software. Then you have the shading, this texture on my skin is very different than my ring or my eyeball. And I'm not just talking about color, it's the specular, the lighting, how light goes across the surface, all of that. Uh, there's so many different aspects to it. That's what I like about animation, cinematography, kinetics, anatomy, um, color and light, all these different aspects to creating this stuff. So those are the basic tools to generate the assets. And then I have discovered a whole new world. I just feel like every time I take another step in the NFTs, it's more quicksand that I've fallen into. And what's really cool is all the new tools that are coming out to make our job so much easier.
100%. Whenever I watch the movie credits, there are 1,000 people listed. Entire countries and all these different professions just to, animate Jack Sparrow or Jack from The Incredibles. Like it's amazing. But we have that in kind of development computer software land. There's this concept of the full stack developer. That's the in vogue name. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I hope this isn't going over the internet, but like if you're a full stack developer, that just means you're kind of crappy. You're average in a bunch of things. Like there are specialties. There are folks who will really obsess about the user interface. They obsess about efficiency and scaling, and this kind of, just because you're a computer geek, you're a computer geek. Like you can do everything. There are specialists, and teams need specialists to solve really specific problems. Boy, I just got myself fired. All right, so let's see. How did you get into NFTs? So it is, it's a bit of a flavor of the month. What's the utility? Where are we going with all this? Are NFTs the killer app for crypto? Like, what was how'd you get into this world?
Yeah, I wouldn't have ever, I don't know if I would have gotten into it if it had not been for Saatchi Art.
Mm-hmm.
So Saatchi Art is one of the oldest online art galleries. They're not really a gallery. They're sort of like the Uber to artists. So when you used to buy art online, you might feel a little bit weird buying from a complete stranger. So they were arbiter, a median in between where you could buy a piece. You could even send it back. Luckily, I haven't had anybody do that. But they've sold over half my inventory. And last year, around November, they contacted a bunch of their artists and said, hey, we want to do an NFT collection. But instead of doing the typical profile pic, they had each artist, they managed to collect like 154 artists. I think I'm about right there. And each one did between 15 and 20 images. Most of the artists are traditional, so they created the art traditionally. And it added up to over 2,500 images for the collection. So it was like a PFP collection.
Yep.
Only every single one of them was a one of one, because they weren't compiled through an algorithm. I knew my oils that I paint would take way too long. So I decided to do them in CG. And I don't even think the people at Saatchi knew that I knew how to do this. Digital has always been a big part of my process before I go to paint, which is weird because most people go the other way around, traditional to digital. All my work goes digital to traditional. But ultimately, it was a great experience. They sold out in less than 20 minutes,
Wow.
the whole collection. And it was based on Van Gogh. And I did the Dead Van Gogh, which was based on one of his paintings of a skeleton with a little rolled up ciggy in his mouth. And so that was so much fun and so creative for me. I thought, I want to do this again, but I want to do it for real for myself. The only thing about the Saatchi drop is it's under the Saatchi name. You have to really search to find even my part of the collection because I'm such a tiny part of this whole thing. So it dropped in January and I started in late February on my own, and I just kept working and working and working on this thing. And then April happened and things changed and Ethereum was falling, and I was like, oh man, am I going to be able to put this out? And I've gone back and forth, but I'm proud to say at least that the train is back on the tracks. I've just hired a community manager. I have a really exciting meeting tomorrow with a company that is a launch pad for NFTs. So this initially I was thinking it was going to be 2,500, but now I'm thinking this might be a really big drop that I'm going to do. And I'm really excited about it. It's good that the market kind of dropped for me because it let me take a step back and figure out, okay, what do I really want to do with this?
Yeah.
And utility, like you said, has become a huge part of what people are going to eventually understand an NFT is. Because right now, unfortunately, it's attached to some apes and the fact that you might go to a party and meet Mark Cuban, and that's about it. And no one really understands the capacity, the flexibility, the most important part, the straight line direct from the artist to their audience that it provides.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
No, no. I am curious. So there's Ethereum. That's kind of like the premium chain. There's gas fees. There's all these things that suck about it. But it is where you can get premium pricing, for your creative output. Have you ever considered? Have you ever considered other chains? Do you collect other people's works on other chains?
Yes. So actually, that's what the meeting tomorrow is about.
Hmm.
All I'll say is Binance is coming up now.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's some interesting things with that. And most importantly to me, and another reason why I wanted to take a step back is I care about the environment. And I don't want to just be putting, Ethereum has been promising to fix things for years now, and I
Right.
don't know what's going to happen with that. But ultimately, that's a big concern for me. Having it be a little bit easier for people to get access to, because when I start talking about this with people who know what I'm talking about and other people listen who don't know,
Right.
it just sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook to them. And they're just like, oh my God, you're making my head hurt. So they're going to have to make all of this much more easily consumable, and the terminology makes sense and all of that. But I have, you know what? I have only bought under Ethereum
Hmm.
so far. And I haven't bought a whole lot. People can certainly, that's the cool thing about this space. Everything's transparent.
Yep.
I bought a David Show, Munko, which I love. He's an LA artist here. He's wild. He has a Netflix show too. If you ever want to know anything about that guy, he's a trip. Super talented. The one thing about him that I've always loved, which I kind of do too, is he doesn't care about being in a box. Like, okay, you're a painter, but you're also this and this and this and this. I do what I want,
Yeah.
kind of attitude. So I have one of his, and there is another guy. Oh, I hope I'm saying his name right. I think it's Anthony Sims. He is on Super Rare, and I just love this little glitchy face that he made. And he's like this guy in Mississippi that just makes art, and I just loved it, and so I just bought it. Um, I don't have deep pockets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want money burning a hole in my pocket right now to be buying anything too expensive, because I am an artist myself.
Right.
But yeah, I mostly bought on Ethereum and sold on Ethereum so far. But yeah, I am very interested in other avenues.
It is what has changed is you as an artist, you hold all the keys, right? So you're gonna go have a high roller meeting tomorrow, and they're gonna be, um, selling to you on what they can do to help, promote your artwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What a great place to be in.
Yeah.
I never in a million years thought I'd be in that position. But yeah, I want them to pay for my CM, for my community manager,
Yeah. Yeah.
and get him taken care of. He's really interesting too. I won't go deep into it. We'll have to meet again to talk more about that once we're
Not on stream.
finally. But he has a really cool project that I'm going to be helping him with as well. So yeah, that I think that's the most interesting part about my entry into NFTs is I have met some of the most kind, interesting, creative people, which is so weird to say because the reputation is all bad actors. And yes, I can't stand Discord and my DMs are shut down. In fact, you and I had a funny, you were trying to talk to me on Discord and I was like, get away. I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
you.
Normally, it takes meeting me in person to be totally creeped out by me. But you were like, I was like, hey, how can I help? I'm
Bye,
creepy.
Felicia.
I think that is definitely part of the problem, because I don't know what you want from me. Uh,
Well, and there's so many scammers. That's
right?
the other thing. I really would I would prefer to not be on OpenSea if I can help it, just because there's so many copycats and
Yeah.
scammers out there. That's part of the reason of Sticks and Jones and different names because Angie Jones is so common and it's so easy to replicate out there. And when I first got on the internet, it just got you porn and basketball players, so I had to come up with something different.
Yeah.
Sticks and Jones came. I started painting on skateboards, so it was like Sticks and Jones.
Oh, I see. All right. Yeah, I can't say. I just have a screwed up last name, so I just have it mispronounced and misspelled my whole life. So,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sure.
life is tough for you, Miss Jones. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I do. I want to show off. Let me see if I can do a screen share because I'm a professional and I know how to do stuff. We'll see. Did I do it? Yes. So like showing off, like this is the Saatchi stuff.
Yeah, so it may have a little tough time playing because it's a lot of gifts, but
I love it.
yeah, I started obviously the Van Gogh one is easy to place because of the pipe and the sunflowers and everything. And then I just started going with themes for each of them, like the Easy Rider guy, and then every time they had a specific set of traits for us to choose from. So even rarity couldn't quite work in there because the artist created the rarity, and I wasn't like sitting there thinking, oh, I'm going to make this rare. I just was like, ooh, I want to try this. So the girly ones have a lot of stuff in their hair. The bubblegum one is a lot of fun because she goes cross-eyed as she blows her bubble, and I took time to make the bubble see through the bigger it gets. That was not easy for me because again, I am an animator,
Yeah.
and doing these other jobs isn't really my thing. We got the punk rocker, we got the S&M guy with the rabbit ears and ball gag, devil and angel. My favorite one that I kept is the medieval one, which is based off of, oh, now I can't think of the movie, but yeah, I
I
had
love
that
it.
idea, like he's on a play, little boy playing, at a school play, with the stars behind him, and then there's the Beast Mom. Yeah,
These are beautiful. Like these are great.
thanks.
Uh, so the future, I don't know what a uh, beast mob. Oh, did I hit? Yeah. Let's see. Can we see
Did
this?
you hit the VR? Oh,
No,
there you go. Great.
dude. Who are these hip uh, things? People.
Yeah. So, by the way, the 2500 and point one ETH doesn't apply anymore. I got to redo all this now that I got a new CM. But um,
Prices
yeah, so
prices will change. Yeah.
exactly. So I started with the Jungian archetypes, which isn't as highfalutin as it sounds.
Okay.
It's basically Jung came up with these psyche kind of monikers for who we are inside: the lover, the hero, the magician, the seer. And many of us are those multiples of those things. And
Oh.
this is, I teach animation, so archetypes are a big part of occupying because I have to act like this character and pose the character as they would be in real their world and how they see themselves in that world. It helps get inside the character's head if you can come up with that archetype of who they are. And archetype is very critical, not stereotype archetype.
Mm-hmm.
So because I've lived with these guys so long, I know all of them by heart now. But then I thought, well, I don't want to do. There's a lot of baggage. I discovered even when I started painting portraiture with painting someone's real head.
Mm-hmm.
And my paintings, many of them are polygonal, so they're an abstraction of someone's face, so it almost could be anybody. So I thought I want to get rid of the baggage of who this person is and play more into that archetype.
Yeah.
And I started looking at animal. I do a lot of beast head stuff. I have a whole series called Chairman of the Board for Wall Street, which is like, the bear and the bull and the, rabbit is the multiplier, that type of thing. So I thought I'm going to explore the beast head, and I'm going to do it with skulls. And when I first put the skulls on, it looked it was borderline goofy, and I was like, no, these guys are not funny. So once I put the jeweled eye in there, and each of them have their own specific colored jeweled eye inside the skull, and I got it placed just right, they started to look borderline creepy,
Yeah.
which I liked. I wanted you to be really unsure if they were going to do something to you, like they're a mob, right? So the first two that I posed is the Everyman and the Lover, which are the two on the middle couch area of the lineup, what I call the lineup there. That one actually is on async art as a autonomous NFT. It changes according to the time of day in Los Angeles. It does a data poll. And so I also have it as my new tab in my browser. So if it's nighttime, I see every time I have a new tab, the lineup at night.
Wow.
And I have sunrise, sunset, day and night for them. So anyway, yeah, the two in the middle, that's the Lover and Everyman, and the boss is the one with the pink head and the yellow tie there. All the females have a long necktie. All the males have a bow tie.
I see.
And they also have their nameplate in a gold chain around their neck.
But there's such a, like an '80s, like I think I had that Izod yarn tie that Alex Keaton wore on Family Ties.
Yeah, I kept it a little skinny. I can't help but, channel some of Miami Vice and
Yeah.
these other things that I grew up on. Even though initially I was thinking they hang out in Palm Springs, I was getting there's an amazing web space. I think they're in Web 3.0 eventually too. Pool Suite FM is a radio station that
Sure.
just plays like 80s from Miami kind of music, like you're chilling by the pool.
Yeah.
I love it so hard. So yeah, I was listening to that a lot. And then this hot pink and blue you can see is in my paintings a lot already.
Hmm.
Most of this place is hot pink. You can't even see what's in here. But yeah, so my palette, and the idea eventually is that they will transform into their one of my friends said you can't say furry, but into their furred normal beast-like selves with
Hmm.
eyes and realistic, because that creature work has been a big part of my career. And then eventually I want them to become half robot, half beast. So I have worlds and lore and a whole idea for these guys. But for now, we're just moving towards the profile pic collection and what I can do with that at this point.
They are beautiful and amazing, and the idea that you've got a plan for them, right? You've got stories to go to still tell across these different, I don't know, genres. Yeah, metaphors. I don't know what the right word is. The jewel, the thing that's there's like a
Oh, yeah.
geometric shape on top of
I left
everybody.
that whole part out, didn't I?
Yeah.
So that's sort of their power. So each of
Mm.
them, it could be their power or their affliction. It depends how they're using it. And I want eventually, I have ideas for games too, because I've worked in games.
Yeah.
And one thing that was funny as I worked in games over the years, everybody's like, we got to crack the pink market. Now, there's a lot more girls playing games today, but I have my own ideas as far as what would make both the girl and the boy play the game, meaning brother, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, and what would keep them both playing the game together. And so that's an ideal with the powers that they possibly could be transferable and all of that.
Yeah.
So that goes into the metaverse. So I just have a little big ideas going on, but I'm just starting with my few steps right
It's
now.
it's amazing. So I have a daughter. She's a gamer. Um, like making something pink. She wants an advantage to shoot more people. She doesn't necessarily need fashion accessories. There's
Right, exactly. Exactly.
yeah. It's kind of funny. Like if you just make it pink, we'll sell more to girls.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love me some pink,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm trying to create something that you're just really unsure if it's nice
Hmm.
and cute or if it's gonna eat you. And I think I'm getting there.
The so we were worried that we were gonna talk in what was like we're at 35 minutes. We are kicking butt. So I am curious. You've kind of pushed your launch. We've got a dark block angle. We're the behind the
Yeah,
scenes plumber guys. We're not content people. Our goal is to make NFTs more valuable by having content associated with them.
right.
Instead of just a link to IPFS, and you all you own is the contract. You really don't own any content.
Mhm.
Like everything's right click save. So when are you? So you're gonna go talk to? Uh,
Well, I will say right
mhm.
now, everything's been discussed between September and December.
Okay.
And I think a big part of when that drop happens will depend on the market, on what happens with finance, on some other negotiations and things that are happening behind the scenes. So I can just say it'll probably get colder when these drop.
You're like a power broker. You're just
Colder
crushing
outside.
people. You know, uh, uh, See, Bitcoin's up 10% today. Ethereum's up 15% today. If
I
you're
saw that.
if you're gonna paddle, with the wave, like you better start
Right.
paddling. Like it's looking,
Exactly.
yeah. Um, and then the metaverse play. So you've got a spatial room set up. I feel like you would have to dumb down's not the right word, but you have to like reduce polygons so that your magic appears in these.
Yeah, so I wanted to provide some fun things when I have the drop for people that aren't just like you said, here's a JPEG
Right.
and good luck.
Right.
And most artists can't give you exclusivity to the art unless they're selling at a Bored Ape Yacht Club price.
Right.
It's just isn't right. So I definitely think one thing that's missing, and everybody's trying to figure this out, is how do you get to go share your NFTs with other people? And we have voxels in some of these different places creating galleries.
Hmm.
And I have, like back there, I have my the Oculus. I'm
Hmm.
so technical,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but it got me in a spatial, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can figure this out. And I had to learn how, like you said, I had to down res my characters so they would even go in there. I had to learn new formats, GLTB or whatever it is, and it took a lot of exporting. It was a real pain in the ass out of Maya, I will say. I guess there's a straight line from Blender and the others, but
There is.
again, I'm not going to go learn that just so I can export. So I did download it though, and I did have to export. I'll go on a one tiny little technical rant since you're allowing me to talk so much. This is so stupid. So, in order to make a hotspot, like on a couch, which I have these cute little couches in my gallery,
Hmm.
for your character to sit on it, you have to put a locator on there and you have to name it hyphen hotspot at the end of the name. And then you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Maya will not let you name anything with the hyphen
Ah.
because it means something in Mel, which is the scripting for Maya. So I couldn't make it. I had to bring the couch into Blender. Was it Blender or Cinema 4D? I think it was Blender.
Hmm.
And make the stupid crosshair and then name it properly. I was like, this is the stupidest thing. But yeah, when you go in there, you can sit on every chair, every couch. I have little powers spinning around inside the galleries. There's actually 3 galleries. There's 2 secret ones inside of the main one. Um, and one of them goes to you better have a sick machine. Of course, I have like an omen here that's like insane, but to go into the one with the entire cast of characters sitting on the couches. And I wanted to animate them, but all I could get animated is the little power over their head because
Yeah.
spatial was just like, no, I
Right.
can't. Um, But there's that hidden one, and then another one with my paintings just in it. And that one's probably the lightest one to go into. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And eventually, what I'll do is I'll have some new gallery that everybody can go hang out in and go to their NFT. It's very easy and spatial to take an entire collection and just put it on the walls.
Yeah.
Now, organizing it the way you want takes a little bit longer, but ultimately you can put an entire PFP collection in a gallery on spatial and then have a big party.
Well, I think so. Kind of the lowering the resolution of your models. I mean, I relate it to all the different copies of Star Wars or Lord of the Rings I've had. Right, we've had the VHS, and I've had DVD, and then I've had the DVD custom set. So, the beauty of your NFT launch with Unlockables, you can put the metaverse-friendly July 2022 version, and then as we have fancier headsets, you have the original art, you have the pure, and then you can kind of not dumb it down, but as we get better hardware, you can.
Well, it's funny. This relates to my paintings, which are all based on a low poly mesh, low polygon. Sorry if I start talking jargon for people that don't know what the hell. But my entire career, I've looked at what looks like, I'm from the South, so this is my best analogy, chicken wire.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So it's like what you build floats out of for the old parades.
Yes, ma'am.
You put tissue in. So that's what a polygonal mesh kind of looks like before it becomes something beautiful on the screen for a movie. And we as animators can't even deal with the high res version. We're always looking at a lower reduced version so we get the feedback that's quick as we're animating, or else we'd wait 10 minutes for just the finger to bend, or something. So ultimately, and I'm looking at the paintings right in front of me here, some of them on the walls, I wanted on top of that, my paintings not to be perfect. In CG, you want everything symmetrical and beautiful and perfect, so it makes sense when it deforms and moves around like that.
Yeah.
But I wanted mine to be a little off and a little not quite so perfect, where the triangles are, that type of thing. So ultimately, the connection I'm making here is, you have the lower res, low poly version of the characters, and then later an asset can be uploaded that is higher res, that could be 3D printed, all these different things.
100%.
This is where I love Darkblock, and I'm so excited to find out about you guys. I would have never, if I had not worked with Jeremy Salman on a bunch of Disney stuff here in LA years and years ago, and I guess I'm on the Black Math newsletter, and then I saw this thing, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I started clicking and clicking. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for. Yeah. Because the hardest disconnect for anyone that's bought an NFT and are interested in art and interested in the artist that made it, they want a physical. So you have a few obstacles. First of all, how do you get the physical to the person?
Yep.
Many whales don't want you shipping things to their house. They don't want you to have their address.
Right.
And then there's also the idea of do you give them something really high res? Now they have exclusivity to your print. How do you handle that? All these different things. So I love that you guys not only provide the asset, but you provide an asset attached to the token. So the person that has the token has the asset. Because if I sent it the way you normally airdrop something, then I'd have to do it every time the NFT was resold. Well, that doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't work for me at all. That's going to cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
So right now, I've definitely committed to the usual stuff that's going to come with the NFT, which is access to private in real life gallery art shows and the allow list for future drops
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of thing. But I absolutely will be putting in high resolution NFT content, PDFs. Eventually, I plan on putting in models and animations and things like that. But one thing I want to do to try and overcome the physical is eventually within the community, I can find certain people that I can send the asset to, a special asset. They can go print it, roll it up in a tube, go on social media and say, hey, I got a beast mob. I'm putting it right here. You got to come find it.
Yeah.
And they stick it in a planner outside of whatever architecture is famous in that area. And then people go try and get their free art, things like that are what I'm after.
Just the gamifying, kind of exciting your community and your audience and your customers. We never say customers in NFT land, but they are, right? They're the patrons of your art. They're supporting what you do, so you can go do more. You just saved my job by doing the Darkblock hard corporate sell. So thank you. We've talked for 46 minutes, Angie. I am so grateful for your time and
Sure.
your passion and your skill, which is unbelievable. You did not cuss, so congratulations. I did not cuss.
Thank you. That was good.
We're professionals, whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time and doing some showing and telling. I can't wait for your drop. I can't wait to hear about your high roller meeting you're going to have tomorrow.
Yes.
And thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to wrap this up.
Okay.
Angie Jones, Sticks and Jones, NFT drop, supporter. She's amazing. You're awesome.
Bye.
All right.